was Shimon, or Simon, when he first became a follower of Jesus, and he was part of the inner circle of the 12 disciples. When he made his confession that Jesus was the Messiah, Jesus changed his name to Kephas, which is Aramaic for rock, which was later translated into Greek as Petros or Peter. Jesus promised that he would become a leader among the apostles to guide the Messianic community in Jerusalem through its earliest years, and that's what happened. Remember the early chapters of the book of Acts. Eventually, Peter was called to carry the good news of Jesus beyond the borders of Israel, however, and this letter was written decades into that mission in the wider Roman world. We discover at the conclusion of this letter that Peter is in Rome, which he calls Babylon, and we learned that while Peter commissioned the letter, it was actually composed by a man named Silvanus, who was a co-worker of Peter. This was a circular letter sent to multiple church communities in the Roman province of Asia Minor, which is in modern-day Turkey. And Peter learned that these mostly non-Jewish Christians were persecuted. They were facing hostility and harassment from their Greek and Roman neighbors. And so Peter wrote to encourage them in the midst of their suffering. And this helps explain the letter's design and its main themes. It opens with a greeting, and then it moves into a poetic song of praise to God, which introduces the key themes that are explored in the main body of the letter, where he first affirms the new family identity of these persecuted Christians, which will help them see their suffering as a way to bear witness to Jesus. And this has a way of focusing their future hopes on the return of Jesus. Let's dive in. You'll just see how all the pieces work together. So Peter opens by greeting these churches as the chosen people of God who are exiled around the world. Now, Peter makes clear throughout the letter that these Christians he's writing to are Gentiles, but here he describes them with phrases from the Old Testament that describe how God chose the people of Israel, the family of Abraham, who was himself an exile and wanderer. This is a key strategy. The family of Abraham, who was himself an exile and wanderer. This is a key strategy that Peter repeats through the whole letter. He wants these suffering non-Jewish Christians to see that through Jesus, they now belong to the family of Abraham. And so they're wandering exiles just like him, misunderstood, they're mistreated, and they're looking for their true home in the promised land. Peter continues this idea in the opening song. He praises God for causing people to be born again into a living hope through Jesus' resurrection and the power of the Spirit. God's inviting all people into a new family centered around Jesus, a family that has a new identity as God's beloved children and who have a new hope of a world reborn by God's love when Jesus returns as King. And for people who have this hope, suffering and persecution is actually a strange gift because it burns away false hopes and distractions like a purifying fire, and it reminds us of our true home and hope. And so paradoxically, life's hardships actually deepen our faith. They make it more genuine. From here, Peter's going to move on into the body of the letter, but he's going to explore all these ideas in greater depth. So he first develops the theme about the new family identity of God's people. He takes even more memorable Old Testament images about the family of Israel, and then he applies them to these Gentile Christians. So like the Israelites who left Egypt, they too are to gird up their loins and leave behind their former way of life on the way to a new future. So they are the holy people of God now who are journeying through the wilderness. They are the people of the new Exodus who have been redeemed by the blood of Jesus, who's the ultimate Passover lamb. They are the people of the new covenant who have God's word buried deep inside them, restoring their hearts and renewing their minds. They are the new temple built on the foundation of Jesus himself, and they're the new kingdom of priests who are serving God as his representatives to the nations. Now, by applying all of these amazing images to these persecuted Gentile Christians, Peter is placing their suffering within a brand new story. And this leads into the next section. Their persecution can actually help bring clarity to their mission in the world, to bear witness to God's mercy among the nations. So Peter first encourages them to submit to Roman rule, even if it's oppressive. Yes, he acknowledges their persecution, their suffering is unjust. But violent resistance solves nothing, not to mention that it betrays the teachings of Jesus, who loved his enemies instead of killing them. Peter then specifically highlights the very difficult situation that Christian slaves and wives faced when they lived in Roman households where the patriarch did not follow Jesus. The problem was that it was expected that everyone in the household would submit to and worship the patriarch's gods. And so Peter's aware that giving allegiance to Jesus will generate suspicion. So Peter says it's true. All Christians, including Roman wives and slaves, have been fully liberated by Jesus. But they are to demonstrate that freedom not through rebellion, but by resisting evil the same way Jesus did, through showing love and generosity to your enemies. And in homes where the husband is also a Christian, it's a different story. They are to treat their wives totally different from their Roman neighbors, regarding them as equals before God who are worthy of honor and respect. And Peter's hopeful that this imitation of Jesus' love and upside-down kingdom will give power to their words as they bear witness to God's mercy and show people the beautiful truth about the way of Jesus. But Peter's also a realist. He knows that Christians will continue to be persecuted, and so he reminds them of their future vindication. He recalls how Jesus himself was unfairly persecuted and murdered by corrupt human powers, but in reality, he was dying for the sins of his enemies. And afterward, he was vindicated and given resurrection life by the Spirit. And now Jesus is exalted as king over all human and spiritual powers. Then Peter shows how baptism points to the vindication of Jesus' followers. So like Noah, they've been saved through the waters, not as a magic ritual, but as a sacred symbol that shows their change of heart, their desire to be joined to Jesus in his death and his resurrection. And so now, even if they are murdered for following Jesus, their hope is in future vindication and exaltation alongside their king. Which leads Peter into the final movement. He recalls Jesus' words that his disciples should consider it an honor and joy to be persecuted just like he was. Peter then calls on church leaders to care for these suffering Christians and to show the same kind of servant leadership that Jesus did to his followers. And finally, Peter reminds these Christians about the real enemy that they are facing. This hostility isn't simply cultural or even political. There are dark forces of spiritual evil at work inspiring hatred and violence, and they are to resist this evil by staying faithful to Jesus and his teachings and by anticipating his return and ultimate victory over such evil. Peter concludes with a prayer for divine strength, and he sends a greeting from the church in Rome, which he calls Babylon. Now this is cool. Peter's adopting here the tradition of the Old Testament prophets, for whom the name Babylon became an archetype for any and every corrupt nation. And so Rome has become the new Babylon, and its empire is where God's people are now exiled from their true home in the renewed creation. Peter's first letter is a powerful reminder of Christian hope in the midst of suffering. God's people have been a misunderstood minority from the very beginning, and they should expect to face hostility because they've chosen to live under the rule of a different king, Jesus. However, persecution can become a strange gift to the church because it offers a chance to show others the surprising generosity and love of Jesus, which is fueled by the hope of his return. And that's what 1 Peter is all about.
All right, so takeaway, friend. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so here we have it's using actually a lot of what we're going through, the first Old Testament. And so it uses a lot of what we're reading is saying that you are the holy people who are in remember the wilderness where they walked around. We are now in our wilderness. Like we're with the Spirit, but we're in our wilderness. And so and we're also like his new temple. I love how the imagery, how it brings all the first Old Testament imagery into now. Like everything that was for the Israelites, and sometimes just for a sect of Israelites, like especially the priests, only Aaron's descendants were priests, but now we're all priests. And so now, like, since we're all this, like, we now adopt Jesus' style of ruling, which how does Jesus rule? By serving, dying, right. And so here you have, like, what happens if only a husband is serving Jesus, but the rest isn't? Or when a wife is serving Jesus, but the husband isn't. Well, you serve. So, like, what's modeled in the world, and which is generally our default response, is to fight the system. Like, literally, like, to show, like, grrr to the system.
You suck. I'm gonna do the opposite of what this does.
Yeah, and so it's actually like you can bend the knee without and with through love and serving, you go the next step. It's more than bending the knee. You wash their feet. You say like you use your models to show that I love you. Like I love you to the extent that Jesus did. And so, and then like whenever there's like, especially like really evil, like you know, like you say like we could say like here in the United States, like the mass killing of babies, you know, like there is a spiritual evil behind that. Yeah, or anything like the systematic oppression when it comes to our garments. Like there's places where they use child slavery, you know? Right. And so you think you're resisting against people, and you are resisting against people by laying them. Yeah, there is some sort of embodiment of evil behind this. Yeah. And so, and here then like the closing is he actually like uses this cryptic word where it says, "May God strengthen you, greeting from the church in Babylon," which is, you know what the archetype means? Well, no, archetype it means like, you know, Rome, you know, like a lot of our systems is based on Rome. So Rome, when you see the United States, you can see Rome. And so it becomes like this system of like democratic rule or like representative rule. But for scripture, well, in scripture, Babylon became the archetype for evil rules. Like where they're so corrupted that oppression is seen as good. And so it also shows like the oppression from the empire is nothing new. Like it's just the system of the empire. We look forward to the moment when Jesus has full rule, where the model of ruling is love and serving. But there are going to be Babylons in our midst. And this is as
and that's why God's working His ministry to create a new good world.
yeah, as followers of King Jesus, this is how. Yeah, we literally surprise people when people expect us to throw our fists and start smacking them back. Yeah, but actually, yeah. Yeah, so like whenever you get angry at someone, check yourself. Well, yeah, well.
The answer, no, for sure.
How do I turn this around? Or literally shock them in love, shock them in serving. It literally cuts to the core. Either like makes them even more angry, or it cuts them to the core. Like what is causing this love serving? All right, friend, we can start. And Logan, I love you, man. I think my basic guess is it's always like being prepared. So like you do it right before warfare is you get like they had like robes on, and so it'll be like putting their robes up and like being able to move without tripping. Phrase Gertie Lawrence suggests you should prepare yourself mentally or physically for something that's rather difficult or challenging. It's like the old-timey version of buckle your seatbelt, brace yourself, but with a lot more garment-related confusion involved.
So close.
I need to say, Char, your game does have a pretty sweet score, while you're minusly rolling the chance.
That's 'cause of my thingy.
Is that so? How do you like my eye? Char, how do you like how I done with my eyes? Yeah. Ooh, that's mini particle effects. Dear sweet Lanta.
Corey, look, I'm so close. I see corruption biome.
All right. Oh. That's weird. I feel like this needs to be worked on.
Good. Hermes wanted me to tell you, hey, my lord. A message he'd surely deliver himself if he could, though he seems well enough. Of course, my lord. Thank you for your service.
So stuck in the past, caught up in his idea of a golden age when he used to rule and mortals hadn't a care in the world. Caring's not such a bad thing, I think.
Not leaving here just yet. The bell. Need to recharge. Stay far away. Got their attention, huh? It's no use. I draw you down, O moon. Lend me your light.
I'm not going to do this.
My innumerable journeys through the sky provided me with ample time to understand my light. By now, I have a hex for each occasion, every phase, and you shall have them too. Look forth. Dark side.
Think I can finally.
It is yours.
It's like he's formed a shell. I keep bashing my head against that one.
Hear ye, shades of the dead, and
There's so much here for me to learn. Lady Hecate has been generous enough to teach me something of the herbal ways and of your craft. An everlasting pursuit. I'm getting a late start.
You wish to become a witch, Lord Moros? Maybe I can give you some pointers sometime.
Oh, I would welcome that.
together we shine.
Oh, Mother.
Hey, you miss being up there, don't you? Among the mortals and all that?
You know, mortals have a word for deliberate cruelty or callous negligence. They call it evil. I could always catch wind of it. I'd go to the source. And whoever it was, I'd make them pay.
But now you're stuck here, and the evil goes unchecked.
A lot of it, I'm sure.
Hey, I know there's an extraordinary likelihood you're going to say no, but I've an extra special poison bottle here, and thought maybe we could split it at the taverna, you and I.
So damn polite. Well, it's less excessive if we split the bottle, I guess. You know what? Whatever. Sure. Come on, say it. Got your ass kicked. By me. Think that was when I first thought I had a chance. That Hecate would pick me. If I could take you just like that.
You're a monster, Nem. I practically started to fear having to spar with you. But the best way to get stronger is to train against a stronger opponent.
Maybe that's why I've been stagnating. We don't get to fight like we used to. Makes me sick even thinking about it.
Wait, you stand around thinking about how we used to spar? Should I be flattered or afraid?
Finish your half of the damn poison already. Don't have all night to sit around and stroke your ego. I swear, mortals take after our worst qualities.
I wasn't being serious. Though, maybe I'm more self-centered than I realize. I am part mortal on my mother's side.
Makes you different, I will give you that. Now come on, I gotta get back. Else Hecate might catch us making nice, and then neither one of us will hear the end of it. Can feel the poison starting to kick in. You'd better get your ass out of here before I keel over.
It'll be our secret.
Evening.
Still not even a scratch. How about the pick? This I vow. This vow is at its peak. Olympus calls. All right. silver shines. What a stench.
I'd urge you visit us, though since we're under siege and all, perhaps it isn't worth a trip. Olympus sure takes on a different feel when you're Stark. We've cut back on the feasting and frolicking a lot. Oh, how I miss those days.
Fix the barrier, did they?
Teardrops. Air bleeding. Sorceress.
I almost pity our enemies, knowing you shall make them rue each night they dare oppose us, Lady Medea. Please, I wanted you to have this.
The nectar of the gods. Why, this shall be most useful to my work, for the strongest curses come from honeyed words. Here, let me make this worth your while.
From one sorceress to another. Thank you.
I meant to warn you, by the way, to not engage with the big burly lion-maned fellow who sometimes stalks about the streets out there.
You must mean Heracles. We've already met, and I gathered that I ought to keep my distance. He says he serves the gods, but he's a threat.
Oh, he's just a big downer. I cure his injuries, yet still he incurs more, and not even I possess the power yet to cure his spirit. The dead have more cheer than a man like that. Now come, I've curses to concoct. There you have it. Seek vengeance, sorceress.
Where to this time? The barrier's lost some of its strength. Next. Should put a dent into that barrier. A lightning sigil. To mighty Uncle Zeus, vanquisher of Titans, your strength has saved our family before. You're most kind to now share some of it with me.
It's hardly seemed the time to make...
Oop. Actually,
You're
clicked
most
again.
generous, Lord Uncle.
Kronos has captured the three fates. Preposterous. A useless provocation. They answer to no god or titan. All it means is that what comes to pass shall not be their decision anymore. We ought to see it as an opportunity.
No getting used to that. Don't mind me.
Enjoy the silence, sister. We'll have company here any moment now. There.
Aid me.
See that?
Couldn't do it. Hear me, on my authority.
Olympus.
My heart.
The spoils of war. Our fathers sure made a mess of things for us, didn't they, sister? Born to the mightiest of gods, yet living like outcasts.
It's Kronos that made a mess of things. If he'd have just stayed dead, we'd be at peace. And together with our fathers, no doubt.
Have you met our fathers? Sure, we're in the midst of an interminable war, but at least we're far away from them. We're done here.
Not now. Acceptable.
Word reaches us that you located Hades' flower. How he must seethe, incarcerated in that pit of despair. Although at least he's whole. What of your mother? Nothing still?
Cold comfort.
I deal with a lot of bots, so I just assume now a lot of people, someone's messaging they're a bot.
Show me the surroundings. Another time sign. I'll tear it apart.
I gotta be careful. Cool and brisk. Next up. That was the last of them. There. Olympus, I accept this message. Desolation. That shade needs you, Phrynos. See you in the crossroads. Enough of this place. The Nocturnal Arms entrusted me with other aspects of themselves, including this one that I think was yours, my lord. Did you relinquish the Moonstone Axe, knowing I was to be its next bearer? I'll bear it to the best of my ability. I need this.
What do you guess my professional associate does with all that coin, really? He still won't say a word. I think he's just covering his tracks so Gramps can't pin him down.
Little spring in my step.
Oh, good. I made those docks back there with my bare hands. You know some guys, they tally every skiff and trireme in the drink. We know where you're going.
So what if you do? You're just another servant of Kronos. The gods shall punish you when all this is over.
What do you know about it? They only care about their own. I'm just a joke to them. Am I a joke to you?
Sounds good.
This ought to keep you busy.
Oh, so that's not block. Okay.
This is it.
Got you good. Where are you? What's with the sheep tonight?
Can't right now.
Those are some smelly sheep. Here, little sheep. There you are. I'm out.
That'll show him. Testament enacted. Will not be staying long. No gold, no sale. Huh. The docks.
On the outskirts of the city lies a makeshift dock, from which a vessel may cut through the channel across the land toward the mountain of the gods.
We need something really fast. Be right back.
Talk about my cringe chicken nugget over here. Chicken nugget! Chicken nugget! Chicken nugget! Chicken nugget. Oh, that's just amazing. Chicken nugget. Great.
I heard you like to eat time, my friend.
Do you think that's cringe?
I mean, it's generally always funny the first time. Second time, it's a light chuckle. After that, you're just like, oh man, he's really into that.
Chicken nugget. Chicken nugget. Chicken nugget. What is this? What? Chicken nugget.
Dude, it's like McDonald's chicken nuggets have gotten so bad in quality that these.
This is a McDonald's chicken nugget.
I've had McDonald's chicken nuggets. Like Bailey gets them on the Happy Meal, and they're like, they're such bad quality that these frozen Foster Farm chicken nuggets are just way better now than the Mickey D's chicken nuggets.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at their breakfast sandwiches, bruh. Chicken nugget.
Some delicious piece of chicken nuggets.
Chicken nugget.
Chicken nuggetito.
Chicken nugget. I'm getting annoyed. Chicken nugget.
Is it? Is it though?
That's some chicken nugget. Chicken nugget. Chicken nugget. Chicken nugget.
Are you kidding?
Chicken nugget.
I thought I did max it out.
Whoa, Char!
Why am I dying?
Ah! No, it's just for that. Chicken nugget.
You come back.
Wow. That's not how you say it.
That is how you say it. What?
It's chicken nugget.
You gotta whisper in their ear, Char.
No,
That's the right way to do it.
no, it's chicken nugget.
They gotta feel the hot breath that you just ate a chicken nugget on their ear.
Yeah, he has the true chicken nugget breath.
Chicken nugget. Why is it? That's not how you say it. Oh my god.
See, even Logan agrees like this. See?
That's just because you're a hater of the cringe way. Chicken nugget.
Does the guy actually shoot his arrow? Huh. He actually starts off with one. Wow, he actually auto shoots a weapon that you have an animation and everything.
And it's not evolving for some reason.
Well, yeah. Do you know what the eval is? It's probably something on the map.
I already have all of it.
You have all the map items?
I have all the
Chicken
evolve items.
nugget.
Huh. I mean, there's a bunch of items in the map.
Or maybe I don't.
Oh, you have the bracer. Huh. Oh wait, you have to get a chest. You only.
I've gotten like 3 chests.
Huh. Then I don't know. The odds are not in your favor.
Just a nugget.
I have 30% luck.
There's a. What's that golden thing?
It's just a medallion.
Try and get Noel so fast because I get one of my strongest questions in the game.
Hmm.
And I'm actually
You have to roll. You have to. Oh, you're trying to get to the null biome?
Yeah.
How do you get in the null biome? Oh, yeah, you're not getting it. Huh. That's interesting. I always thought you got it if you were maxed out.
No, it's a
No, I was talking to Logan.
just for that. Just a nugget.
I died because he didn't want to give me the ability.
Just a nugget.
Chicken noobs.
Just a nugget. Just a nugget.
Looks like I'll need a ride. Transfer me. You dare. The messenger. Set. Out with you all. A bit of solid ground.
Morning dew and fingernail. Dust of wind and spray.
Hail, piggies.
See, piggies! Look who's back. Welcome, Poppet. Though, forgive me that I have not invited you inside my little hut. Such hospitality I don't extend to anyone. And I make no exceptions, not even for you.
Madam Cersei, that is perfectly all right. And there's no need to explain. We all live in seclusion in our own way. What other way is there? With privacy comes peace of mind.
I'm grateful that you understand. Of late, I share my simple home with beasts, but that is all. This Isle of Aia is not mine, of course. Rather, it's my dear companion, and can be yours. So please, help yourself to anything you need whilst here. Our Lady protect you.
Special delivery. Olympus, I accept this message. Some seeds.
Returned.
Let us together shine this night, O moon.
I saw the great king of the Olympians already bestowed on you his thunderous strength. He would contend it is more than sufficient on its own. But we Silver Sisters four know otherwise. Behold my light.
Something there. Go, Freenos. See you in the crossroads. Not a chance. Full speed ahead. Steady now. Ensnared.
to...
Got you something?
Hi. Electric.
Been flying for a while now. At first, it brought me back to the terror I felt as a kid. Those final moments. I wanted to put myself through them again and again. Don't know why.
Icarus, you were young and you made a mistake. What's the use torturing yourself for it for all eternity? I thought you wanted to learn to fly to prove yourself to your father.
Come on, Nellie. I'm never going to prove myself to him. But something happened as I kept trying to use my wings. I started to like it. Seeing from a different point of view.
You look so in your element up there. I always believed if I could make you whole again, perhaps some night we'd learn to fly together. I still want to feel what it's like.
You've no idea how much I wanted that too. But it was something I had to do on my own. I'd love to take you up with me now, but yeah, shades and goddesses don't mix. Ah, yes.
Thanks.
Nice seeing you.
Solid ground ahead. In the name of Hades. May I?
Thought that was you. Give back the golden apple that you took from me last time, and I might just let you walk this once. What do you say?
You mean the golden apple that you very likely stole? Supposedly they grow it in a single garden, and I highly doubt that such a place would let you in.
Life starts to get a lot more interesting once you accept that you don't always need an invitation to show up. Fine, keep the apple then. I've got a whole lot more.
Need to recharge.
Got plenty more.
I don't even know where that got me.
Eris on her blasted rail.
Where'd you come from?
Disgusting.
What's the matter?
Nevertheless, I feel as though I ought have been there, brother. Perhaps I could have protected them, as was my charge. To think the fates themselves may have denied me the attempt. It's discomforting that I may never know.
All right, Char, you have to go through step. Is that good? Step though. Now when you're ready.
You have every reason to be angry. I'm angry too. Nonetheless, I'm grateful that our paths have intertwined again. Be safe, Charon.
Something for me? Just checking up on you. I've need of that. It's all here.
But you already got me one of these. Don't you have anything else? Only messing with you, babe. I'll get you back for this sometime, okay?
Please don't. I mean, I just wanted you to have it since I know you have a taste for this stuff, but it's been harder to come by. Anyway. Is this what you want, Eris? To have our aimless clashes, only then to sneer at one another here again and again? Such a worthy cause.
Who are you to say what makes a worthy cause? 'Cause yeah, I happen to be quite alright with everything. It's genuinely been a real blast.
You're unbelievable.
Thanks, Trouble.
Back on your feet, I see.
I found Circe the Enchantress on my route toward Olympus. Or likely, she found me. She hasn't changed a bit from what I recall. You have her keeping watch over the seas?
That I do. Selene takes to water like a cat, while Circe hails from the sea. Thus has it been a good arrangement for a while. I trust Circe's work retains its potency.
She's been great.
What is it? The hell are you doing talking to me? You get your scrawny ass back out there and get that Titan. What are you waiting for?
Rude. Here you'll grow strong. Descura, reveal your secrets.
Well, what was that? To all of you just
This
joining
one.
up,
Descura. Melinoi. Faith of my comrades. The bell. I'll make this count. For the Silver Sisters.
Worthless Cyclops Polyphemus turning his broad back against the gods. His kind once aided us against the Titans, yet he's of a newer generation, lacking loyalty apparently. His actions cannot be excused.
Better. Carefully now. Count right now. It's no use. A little pain is all. Darkness.
All is for you. In retrospect, I ought not have permitted Kronos to speak with me, but he was persuasive. I still do not fully understand how you communicate. What you say is not always what you mean, and your intentions may be carefully veiled. So I pay closer notice now.
massive Cyclops Polyphemus. Saw him fast asleep the other night. Then you were able to sneak up and incapacitate him, just like that. I stay far downwind of him myself.
I'm tempted to just smile and nod through this one, Artemis, but my dealings with the Cyclops haven't involved much stealth. Though at least I can get past him at this point.
And how do you get through the rift beyond the docks? You swim? You still like doing things the hard way. The only way. My mark is yours.
Fight on. Go, Phrynos.
Sorry for the mess. Another evening where you're forced to do the bidding of the gods. It's not a partnership you've got with them, you know. They'll tolerate you just as long as they think you're inferior to them. Now here, take this and go.
We've on.
What shall become of our fair mountain, love? Just recently we felt such tremors as I'd not experienced before. At first I thought it was Poseidon shaking up the earth again, but one look at him and I knew it wasn't so.
Thank the fates. You're late. Already took care of things here, though you'll still get your share, I'm sure.
If you insist on trying to hunt Kronos down, why don't we work at it together at least?
Can't be seen with you, and don't need your help besides. But I get you need mine, so here. Take this, and you never saw me. Got it? Go.
What's in the well this time? Need to recharge. Thank the fates. Here goes.
Shall we? You spoke the oath of the unseen and would enact Knight's Testament this eve. I sensed the growing fear. How much of it is yours?
A healthy fear, no more no less, Headmistress. I'm honored that you granted me the right to take the oath. Assuming it was your doing, rather than Commander Skelemia's.
Best not to speculate too much. 'Twas your own doing most of all. Then face me on this terror-stricken eve. You have made certain vows and shall experience the consequence. Crossed flames burn.
Apart.
Three against one. Little toad.
I can't.
Total eclipse. Bathe in flame. I shall see you at the crossroads anon. I shall be catching there my breath.
In you go. Calm that shade down, Phrenos. See you in the crossroads. Kronos.
There you are.
The mirror.
Little one, do not presume to think your movements are invisible to me. I see you plainly where you stand. A trespass for which you shall suffer, although regrettably not by my hand right now. Not yet.
Ugh, that's cold.
All right. 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 25 to chapter 24, verse 16. King Jesus, you're amazing. Thank you that you set your face to bless the nation. And you decided to do that through a family. Now, as we read the account, this family is done goof. But you and your awesomeness is you didn't hold the salvation to the world on them. Salvation of the world is your mighty act, what you have done. What you have done on the cross. You are the Israelite representative, King Jesus. Our Christus. And so we thank you that we have these ancient writings. And as we read them, please reveal to us what we should meditate on. Our responses, dwell on you and your goodness. Look at our own waywardness and set them against you. So we could turn our ways and be about the restorative movements that you're about. There is no one who can turn evil for good. Thank you, King Jesus, that you has sucked up the evil. And you use evil for good, but you do not excuse it. Because evil does need to be put rightly in its place. And we look forward to the day when you wrong all rights. We look forward to that beautiful day. A day of true rest. Today I'm feeling tired. I'm looking forward to the ultimate rest. Amen. Wake up, O sleepers. How to undo a reform. There was no king before Josiah who turned to Yahweh with all his mind and soul and might. You know what they're quoting there? It's the Shema. Hear, Israel, you shall love the Lord God with all your heart, with all your soul. Well, he could put mind, but it just means your being. Mind, soul, and might. Oh, I skipped it. So, and might in accordance with all Moses' teaching. And after him, none arose like him. Yet Yahweh did not turn from the great angry blazing with which his anger blazed against Judah because of all the provocative acts with which Manasseh had provoked him. So Yahweh said, Judah too I shall remove from before my face, as I removed Israel. I will reject this city that I chose, Jerusalem, in the house of which I said, my name will be there. The rest of Josiah's acts and all that he did, all these things are indeed written down in the annals of the kings of Judah. In the days Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria by the Euphrates River. King Josiah went to engage him, but Necho killed him at Megiddo when he saw him. His staff transported him dead from Megiddo and brought him to Jerusalem and buried him in his tomb. The people of the country got Jehoahaz, son of Josiah, anointed him and made him king instead of his father. Verses 31 and 37 relate how Necho replaces him with his brother Jehoiakim. Both kings are more like their early ancestors than like their father. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant for 3 years, then turned and rebelled against him. Yahweh sent against him Chaldean, Aramean, Moabite, and Ammonite raiders. He sent them against Judah to destroy it in accordance with Yahweh's word that he spoke by means of his servants, the prophets. Indeed, it was at Yahweh's command that it happened to Judah, to remove them from before his face because of Manasseh's offenses, in accordance with all that he had done, and also the innocent blood that he had shed. He had filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, and Yahweh was not willing to pardon. The rest of Jehoiakim's acts and all that he did, these things are indeed written down in the annals of the kings of Judah. Jehoiakim slept with his ancestors, and his son Jehoiakim became king instead of him. Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he became king. He reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Nehushta, daughter of Elnathan, from Jerusalem. He did what was displeasing in Yahweh's eyes, in accordance with all that his father did. At that time, the subordinates of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, went up to Jerusalem, and the city came under siege. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to the city while his subordinates were besieging it. And Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came out to the king of Babylon, he, his mother, his staff, his commanders, and his officers. Verse 13 and 16 relate how Nebuchadnezzar took the king and the rest of Judahite leadership into exile in Babylon, along with the valuables from the temple. So, Josiah, what kind of king was he? Actually, he set his whole face towards Yahweh. Good king, right. But during this war, which we don't know if he looked to Yahweh, but nonetheless, he got killed by Necho, the Pharaoh king. And so here they put a bunch of other people in leadership. Now they were not good. And so, but
Not good.
yep, yeah, not a life-giving community. Yep. And so King Jesus, Yahweh, set his mind towards the destruction in which he sent Babylon, right, to destroy. And he brought all the leadership into exile. And what does exile mean? It's like displacement. It's like here in Oregon's our home state, right? Being exiled is, say, raiders came from Canada and they took us and moved us to Canada. And then we longed to go back to our home nation, Oregon. Is he a silly squirrel? The first time I visited the United States, I came to give a week's guest lectures in a seminary. People must have thought the lectures were okay because they were then interested in offering me a job. But it wasn't a moment when I could think about such a move. It was just as well because a couple of years later, there was a coup in the seminary and the president was given the sack. The goals and principles he had worked for were abandoned. I was very grateful that when I resigned as principal of my seminary and came to the United States, I could rejoice in the appointment of my successor because I knew she fundamentally shared my vision. Josiah's experience was more like the one of that seminary president in the United States. It's odd, really, because his immediate successor was his own son, as was the next king of Judah. But then the politics kept changing. Indeed, the very factors that initially facilitated Josiah's reformation were eventually involved in bringing about his death. In 611, the Babylonians took the Assyrian capital and sounded the death knell for the Assyrian Empire, though this did not establish what would happen next. An attuned Assyrian Empire continued to exist, and the Egyptians would be interested in trying to ensure that Babylon did not simply replace Assyria as master over Egypt. It seems that Pharaoh Necho therefore set off to intervene in events as they were unfolding in the northeast, and that Josiah in turn tried to intervene in Necho's expedition, though we are not clear what his game plan was. Whatever it was, it came unstuck and he lost his life. A battle took place at Megiddo, at the pass between the Mediterranean and Israel's central plain, the place that generates the name Armageddon, Mount Megiddo. Don't you know the word Armageddon? This is where we get it. Second Chronicles 35 is clear that this involved an act of disobedience to God. So this is a moment, I guess, he disobeyed God, Josiah. Interesting. Huldah had promised that Josiah would die in peace. Perhaps he has forfeited the promise by his disobedience. Or perhaps he is fortunate not to see the eventual conflict between Babylon and Judah and to see the fall of Judah. His son Jehoshaphat's 3 months reign is enough to displease God, which might simply be a conventional summary or might point to his maintaining his father's anti-Egyptian stance. Alternatively, it might be the first sign that the people of the country who put him on the throne were less deeply affected by Josiah's religious commitments than one would like to have thought. While 2 Kings is not specific about people serving other gods in these last years of the Judahite state, Jeremiah and Ezekiel are specific about it. Jehoahaz certainly displeases the Egyptians, who replace him by his brother, whom they perhaps think they can control better. Perhaps they are right. They could hardly blame Jehoiakim for submitting to Babylonian authority when the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar comes knocking on Judah's door with a battering ram. He does rebel against Babylon 3 years later, but by this time Egypt is in any case a spent force, and it will be 3 or 4 centuries before it takes a serious interest in Judah again. Jehoiakim is in turn succeeded by his son Jehoiakim, who also displeases both God and the Babylonians and is disposed by the imperial power after 3 months and replaced by another of Josiah's sons. 2 Kings knows that the people who must pay for wrongdoing are people who do the wrongdoing, yet it reveals in a source such as that of Jeroboam and Abijah. It's recognition that life doesn't work out neatly in this way, as we ourselves know. What applies to the family also applies to the nation. An op-ed piece I read a little while ago noted how the 20 years after Second World War saw the United States making progress in seeing that the whole nation had adequate jobs, food, homes, education, medical care, and Social Security, but that subsequent policies and the Vietnam War slowed or reversed much of this development. People alive today are thus paying the price for decisions taken by the previous generation or two. In Judah's history, the ending of the nation's life, of which we'll read in 2 Kings 25, might seem an enigma after Josiah's magnificent reformation. The disparity between the story's enthusiasm for Josiah and the thinness of the long-term results of his work has been an important factor in the generating of theories that there have been at least 2 editions of 2 Kings. The first coming from Josiah's time, the second from after the fall of Jerusalem. On reflection, humanly or sociologically speaking, Josiah's failure is not so surprising. It takes a lot to change a culture, particularly in a context where cultural change happens very slowly. England in the 16th century switched several times between a Protestant Reformation and Catholic Counter-Reformation. Whichever you identify with, you can see that lasting change is slow to happen. 2 Kings puts the point theologically. In this connection, too, there are limits to what Josiah's Reformation could achieve. There's a sense in which repentance changes everything. It restores a relationship between people and God. There are limits, however, to the sense in which it cleans the slate. A murderer who repents does not then get pardoned and freed from prison. This would make too little of the offense. Theologically as well as sociologically, the repentance in which Josiah leads the people does not simply clean his slate. It is significant that 2 Kings speaks not of God's unwillingness to forgive, but of God's unwillingness to pardon. When I forgive someone, I carry the wrong they do to me. The Hebrew word commonly translated forgive is the ordinary word for carry. It's like a train. So, what does forgiveness also mean? To carry. Yeah, so imagine I wrong you. Let's say I broke one of your fishing poles. And I said, I'm sorry. But if you decide to forgive me, it's you carry. So that's what it's saying Yahweh does. And actually what Jesus does, he carries. When we talk about pardon, we're talking about the remission of wrongdoing that was done to other people, not to oneself. About someone's ignoring objective standards of right and wrong. Manasseh had filled Jerusalem with innocent blood that is still crying out from the ground. Perhaps his actions still could not be pardoned. All right, friend, we can start. And we dip in 47 minutes. Let's talk. Oh, you doing chicken nuggets? Oh, there's like on the freezer door. There's like little mini tacos with cheese and chicken. They're pretty good.
I accept this message.
Certainly.
This must be love. I'm ready. Some sort of seed. I've returned. Hold still. Out of my sight.
Where in those bloody depths are you, dearie? Underneath the sea? It's hard to get a blaze a-roaring when there's water all about, but if you can handle the pressure down there, I can bring the heat.
Well, man.
Flame of the hearth. Come. Is that all?
A moment of reprieve.
Jump. There.
Your folk in there has such an ugly job, having to smuggle little blessings such as these into the worst of places. But we make it worth his while, don't you worry about that.
Hey, girls! Oh, hey, lady! We've been practicing. You want to hear our latest jam? 1, 2, 3, 4!
Can't do it.
Love you. Oh. My body goes out before I put headphones on. After the workout, I put on the headphones, so like makes them extra sweaty.
Down, down.
Not right now. Show's over. Mine. No more crowds. All right. Long way down. Mustn't stay for long.
If you just go to choosingeden.org, that's where you'll find the Discord.
That one again. It's no use. It's cleared up. Can't right now. Grow golden once again.
Good. She and I don't always chat, running around a lot, being discreet and all, but we exchange a knowing look from time to time.
sudden surge. I accept this gift. I can get out now.
Okay, I've been talking. Hey friends, it looks like we'll be seeing y'all back on today. Love you guys. Peace.